Look around you for a moment. Every human being you have ever seen has the same basic body. 2 eyes, 2 arms, the same organs, the same species. And yet, one difference changes entire lives before a single word is spoken: intelligence. Some people learn faster. Some solve problems effortlessly. Some struggle in school their entire lives. Some build civilizations, technologies, theories, and machines that reshape humanity itself. And for centuries, humans have asked the same uncomfortable question: why? Why do some humans appear smarter than others? At first, the answer seems obvious. Maybe some people are simply born smarter. Maybe intelligence is written into the brain before life even begins. But the deeper scientists looked, the stranger the story became. Because intelligence is not one thing. It is not a single switch hidden somewhere inside the skull. It is more like a massive network of biological accidents, environmental pressures, childhood experiences, nutrition, stress, culture, education, sleep, memory, and thousands of tiny, invisible advantages stacking together over time. And the strangest part is that your intelligence began shaping itself long before you were old enough to speak. To understand why humans develop different levels of intelligence, you first need to understand something uncomfortable about the human brain. Evolution never designed it for school, or math, or IQ tests, or science. The human brain was designed for survival. For almost all of human history, intelligence meant something very different from what it means today. A highly intelligent human 50,000 years ago was not someone solving equations. It was someone who could remember dangerous locations, track animals, predict weather, read social behavior, survive conflict, avoid poison, and adapt to unpredictable environments. The brain evolved as a survival machine, and survival environments were never equal. Some children were born into stability, others into chaos. Some brains developed under safety and stimulation, others developed under stress and fear. Even today, 2 children can be born with similar genetic potential and end up with completely different cognitive abilities simply because their environments shaped their brains differently. Because intelligence is deeply physical. Your brain is not floating separately from your body. It is built from your nutrition, your sleep, your hormones, your stress levels, your childhood, and the experiences repeated around you thousands of times. A child growing up with chronic malnutrition does not just become physically weaker. Brain development itself can slow down. Memory formation changes. Attention changes. Learning speed changes. Even exposure to toxins like lead can permanently damage cognitive function. This is why intelligence cannot be separated from environment. But then genetics enters the story. And this is where humans become deeply uncomfortable. Because genes absolutely matter. Studies on twins raised apart consistently show that genetics influence intelligence to a significant degree. Certain genetic combinations appear connected to memory, processing speed, attention, and learning ability. But genetics are not destiny. A brain with high genetic potential can still collapse under poor conditions, and a brain with average genetic advantages can dramatically improve under strong environments. Genes load possibilities. Environment shapes outcomes. And that balance creates one of the biggest misconceptions humans have about intelligence. People often imagine intelligence as a fixed quantity, like height, as if every brain is permanently ranked from birth. But real intelligence is far messier than that. The brain physically rewires itself through experience. Neural pathways strengthen through repetition. Skills compound over time. Knowledge builds on previous knowledge. A child exposed to books early gains language faster. Faster language improves learning. Better learning increases curiosity. Curiosity increases exploration. Exploration increases knowledge. Small early advantages begin multiplying into massive differences later in life. This is sometimes called cumulative advantage. And once you see it, human society starts looking very different. because intelligence is not developing equally everywhere. Some humans grow up surrounded by stable schools, information, technology, educated parents, internet access, libraries, and safety. Others grow up surrounded by violence, instability, hunger, pollution, or collapsing systems. The human brain adapts to whatever environment it lives in, and adaptation is not always academic. A child growing up in dangerous neighborhoods may become highly skilled at reading threat, emotion, deception, or social tension, skills that rarely appear on intelligence tests, but matter enormously for survival. This is another thing humans often forget. IQ tests do not measure every form of intelligence. They mainly measure specific cognitive abilities linked to pattern recognition, memory, logic, language, and processing speed. But human intelligence is broader than test scores. A hunter surviving alone in ancient forests required intelligence. A politician manipulating entire populations requires intelligence. A musician composing symphonies requires intelligence. A scientist solving equations requires intelligence. The brain evolved to solve problems. But different environments reward different problems, and modern civilization changed those rewards completely. For most of history, physical strength mattered enormously. Today, cognitive ability increasingly shapes economic success. Entire societies are now built around information, analysis, technology, and abstract thinking, which means differences in learning ability can massively affect life outcomes. But modern intelligence is also being shaped by something evolution never prepared us for: digital overload. For the first time in human history, billions of brains are being flooded constantly with stimulation, short videos, notifications, algorithms, endless entertainment. The human attention span is being attacked from every direction, and attention is deeply connected to intelligence. A brain unable to focus struggles to build deep understanding. Knowledge requires concentration. Memory requires repetition. Insight requires long periods of thought. But modern systems often reward distraction instead. In a strange way, humanity may now be entering an era where protecting attention becomes a survival skill itself. And then there is one final uncomfortable truth. Humans desperately want intelligence to be simple, because simplicity creates hierarchy. People want clear categories: smart and dumb, gifted and average, superior and inferior. But biology almost never works that cleanly.